New York City, we back. The Big Apple, NY. The Knicks are back. Staten Mellow. This dedicated to my city, New York. Official kings in the court. Reach with a ball, a hard lesson gets taught. So bring your skills to the nearest playground. No clown around. Catch a helmet in a minute on a New York playground. The Big Apple's what they call it for short. And basketball is our sport. We play for keeps and never settle for sure. So bring your game when you come to my town. We snatch a crowd. You get embarrassed on the court after you shook to the ground. You get respected when you prove to get down. So save the joke for the clowns. And NYC, we known to go a few rounds. This is a city where you're forced to go hard. You'll get booed out of Dodge and shown the door being the weakest on squads. Rucker Parker summer nights, they stay live. Brothers play for the pride and bragging rights on who's the king of NY. So grab the pill and prepare to go hard. Pick your 12-man squad. Orange and blue, better believe we go hard. This for my city, New York, New York City where it's gritty. Yeah. For my city, never pretty. New York City, sing it with me. Yeah. For my city, New York City where it's gritty. NYC, for my city, never pretty. Yeah. New York City, sing it with me. New York City, sing it with me. Still's the great J. Remy, Knicks Talk Nation Radio, every Monday, 10 to 11. Remy, what's good?
Stills, what's good, my brother?
Man,
glad to hear your voice is getting back.
Yeah, man, my voice is coming back. It's still ain't there 100%, but you know, the show must go on. You know what I mean? I apologize to everybody last week for missing the week before, but we got a lot to talk about, man. You know what I'm saying? We got a whole lot to talk about. It's a lot going on in Knicks land. I know that you missed last week. We had a dope episode. We had a big talk about some changes possibly being made. But before we get into that, Rim, man, tell everybody how your weekend was, how your week was, man, leading into today, man, because it's a blessing.
My week was cool, man. My week was cool. You know, interesting weekend. You know, it was a cool weekend, bro. I'm blessed at the end of the day, but I was definitely looking forward to getting here and getting on here. You know, I hate missing the show, but sometimes work is work.
No question.
But you know, I look at this as my work too, so I'm glad to be back on here and here with you, and you know, wish the circumstances was better, but you know, we're gonna talk about it.
Yes, sir. Salute to Delano Still, man. We see you, brother.
What about you? How was your weekend?
Man, my weekend was great, man. I can't lie. You know what I mean? Saturday, you know, I was with my boy all day, man. You know what I mean? And luckily, surprisingly, I should say, he hung out with me the whole day until about midnight, 1 a.m. Now, mind you, my son is only 2. So he stayed up the whole day. I was trying to get him to go to sleep. I'm like, all right, man, the fight is going to come on. By the time the fight come on, he going to be asleep. Nah, not him. He was jumping around, playing with my phone. Then he seen the fight and he got a little interested. So he was looking like, yo, what the hell is going on there? So he got a little intrigued by that. Playing with the game. Then eventually he went to sleep. But it was a great night, man, with my son.
Never underestimate the things that he's learning at this age in regards to sports, bro. Because my son is 15 now. And when I tell you he drives his mother crazy because he's his father's child when it comes to sports,
yeah,
he drives them crazy, bro, because he's a Knicks fanatic, he's a Giants fanatic, he's a sports fanatic.
Yes.
And he remembers, you know, with rocking the Stoudemire jersey when he was 4 years old and Melo's first game as a Knick. And like he remembers, you know, Knicks tape with when the three hitting the head first started and J.R. Smith being a knucklehead and Iman Shumpert tearing his ace. Like he remembers all that, bro, at a young age. He was 4 or 5 years old. So never underestimate the things that those Saturdays you get to enjoy with him, bro.
No question, man. Salute to my brother Frank Dreddy. I see you out there. I see you on the road with Obi, boy. I see you out there with Obi everywhere he go. My brother Frank Dreddy is right there with the family, man. They go to all the games to support Obi Toppin, man. Before the season is out, we definitely going to get O on the show. The first episode that we had his pops on, you know, last year. So this year we probably going to get him on again, you know what I mean, with his son this time. And, you know, just chop it up with him, man. And hopefully we get Taj Gibson as well before the season is out, you know what I mean? But the holidays are around the corner. You know what I mean? It is Thanksgiving coming up this week, man. What you got planned for Thanksgiving, Remy?
Nothing crazy, man. Nothing crazy. You know, chilling with my mother and my son on Thanksgiving Day.
No
Um,
question.
you know, and just relaxing, watching some football with my son. That's what he's looking forward to. That's what I'm
Yes.
looking forward to. Of course, eating like everybody else,
Boy.
but you know, just getting a little quiet. You know, quiet, intimate family time with just my mother and my son. Nothing too crazy.
Question. Nah, that's a good look, man. Me, I'm about to head to the supermarket in a day tomorrow. Go grab a couple of turkeys, man. I'm gonna fry a couple of them bad boys up, man. Take them to one of my family cribs. Then I'm gonna have the other one here at my crib just in case. Cause I know, we get hungry too throughout the week. We're gonna have a lot of turkey sandwiches and everything for the week after that, man. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving, man, just to sit back, decompress, man, and reboot. You know what I mean? Get some downtime because it's been a lot. All of us, including yourself, been working hard, man. Like you said earlier, work is work. You got to do what you got to do to keep the lights on, pay the bills, support your family. No different on this side, man. But you know, now it's time to get to work, man. So let's talk about these Knicks, man. They lost yesterday, man, to Chicago, 109 to 103, led by DeMar DeRozan with 31 points. Zach LaVine chipped in a 21-point a game in a winning effort. But on the New York side, man, Julius Randle, of course, led the way with 34 points and 10 boards. And we had a couple players on the bench, including Obi Toppin, to score double figures. It was low teens, but it just wasn't enough, man. And with that loss, the Knicks dropped 7 of their last 11 games, man, since they started the season at 5-1, man. Ren, what's your thoughts on what's going on? What's your thoughts on that game yesterday, first and foremost?
So, I mean, I got a couple of different thoughts as I'm pulling up my notes. I got a couple of different thoughts. I mean, the first thing is, you know, what's really like I look at just not only just the numbers, but like, you know, the story behind the numbers. And if you look at the last I think it's the last 8 games.
Mhm.
Yeah, the last 8 games, besides beating Houston, who was a 1-win team, which, you know,
Yes.
we don't beat them. I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We beat Indiana and, you know, lost to Milwaukee, lost to Charlotte, lost to Orlando, lost to Chicago again, lost to Cleveland. It's you know, I know, you know, with their records they're still above 500, but that's not acceptable.
yeah,
That's not acceptable. Period. It's just too much depth on the team, too much talent for us to be, you know, juggling 500 right now.
yeah,
I'm not gonna be excited about barely being a 500 team almost 20 games in. I'm not happy about it, and I think, you know, I stand tall with you know, our, I think, consensus. I don't want to speak for Hard Will,
uh-huh,
he's not here, but that the show is not going to, not our show, the Knicks show
uh-huh.
is not going to be in the right direction with Julius Randle being our lone contributor. I mean, he's leading the team in points, rebounds, and assists. That
Can't
just
happen.
can't happen, bro. It just can't happen, and I don't understand what I'm not, the changes that we're not seeing from a coaching perspective. I don't get it. But at the end of the day, RJ's got to contribute more. 14.9 points is just not going to get it done. And they got to figure out how to get more out of Obi and players like Emmanuel quickly. That
Nah, I agree with you 100%, man, because I see a lot, I see things a little bit different though. I think that um a lot of the struggles they come from the chemistry being off, and I blame it a lot. I put a lot of the blame on Tibbs. You know what I mean? I think that Tibbs needs to do a much better job with his rotations, his lineup. I think at this point now, I think it's really time to look at a possible shakeup in the starting lineup, bring in guys that can bring energy with that first unit, because the first unit, they start games off so slow, they put us in a hole. And then it takes the bench to come in, bring the energy that's needed to play, get us back in the game. And then Tibbs, because the Knicks has this financial obligation to a lot of these starting players, he has to put them back in the game, and then he puts us back in a hole. You know what I mean?
and I
Like,
think they just did that in Houston, right? Didn't they just
yeah,
transfer from Houston?
come on. You know what I mean? And the biggest difference between this team and last year's team is that We beat the teams we were supposed to beat last year. We beat all the teams we were supposed to beat last year. We beat them. This year, we playing down to the level of our competition, and then we get up for certain games and beat teams like Milwaukee or Philadelphia, and then we'll come back and turn around and lose to Houston or lose to Orlando twice, like at home. That's unacceptable. You know what I mean? And again, it falls on the coach. Now, what's starting to happen, and I'm seeing it in the blogs, and I know you've seen it in all the other blogs. If you're paying attention, the fan base is starting to turn on Julius Randle. You know what I mean? Because people are starting to see that. I think that the news clippings are starting to get to his head. He's starting to read his own highlight reels, and he's going out there. And sometimes it looks like he's going for self. Like him initiating the offense, I don't understand why Coach Tibbs feels the need to put the ball in his poorest decision maker's hands.
And it's like you said, we agree on that, bro. Is that it falls back on Tibbs? Like I said, we have way too much depth and we have way too much talent, and I don't understand what I'm missing from a NBA efficient. Like, if you're a coach in the NBA at any level, you have a high level of IQ of basketball. We're talking about the NBA here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like when I sit back and I just look at myself as a poor man's fan, a poor man's an analyst, just a fan in general. Absolutely. I don't understand what I'm missing. Where Julius Randle, he's starting to do that, but he's getting encouraged by Tibbs. It's like Tibbs has a point to prove. It's like he's trying to prove that he could win with Julius Randle being our superstar, and he's not a superstar.
Nah, he's far from that. He's far from it.
And
man.
It's like he's being encouraged by Tibbs. Tibbs is encouraging that, and I think that's where we're falling short right there. Is the coaching and the misguidedness of us with our leader.
Yeah, because for the life of me, we got Kemba Walker for a reason. I mean, yes, he's not the same Kemba Walker that he was in Charlotte, but he's still capable of running a team if you allow him to do so. One of the Knicks fans, and this is how much Knicks fans are really paying attention to things. They caught a clip of I think it was the game against Orlando at the Garden, where the Magic scored the basketball. Julius Randle was the closest guy to the ball to inbound the basketball. He actually ignored going to get the ball. Kemba Walker looked at him, walked to out of bounds, grabbed the ball, passed it to him. Julius Randle ran up the court with the ball, turned the ball over. The Magic came back down and scored again. It just was, that sequence right there said everything that you needed to know.
It don't make no sense, still.
Doesn't make any sense.
It don't make any sense whatsoever. And it's like, what did you go get Kemba for? And like you said, he's not what he was in Charlotte. He's not what he was expected to be in Boston, but he still is a playmaking point guard that can score and distribute, and that can give you in the high teens per game from a perspective. And he should be the main. Him and D Rose, you got too much experience sitting there at your point guard position to still have Randle running up and down the court with the ball, bro. He's like a supersized Russell Westbrook in a sense, bro. It's just, you know what I mean? It's like, and I love Westbrook's drive. I'm not trying to take shots at Westbrook. What I'm saying is he's like a supersized Westbrook, bro. He's just a poor decision maker that's encouraged to dribble, and make bad decision upon bad decision, bro. It don't make no sense to me still.
No sense, bro. And I'm glad you said that, because we're going to come back to Westbrook in a minute. Shout out to Chris C, man. He says that Julius is a Robin playing Batman, unfortunately. And
he ain't even Robin. He's what was the maintenance guy's name? Nah, the chef's name, Albert. He's Albert, bro. He's the butler. He's the butler, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Oh man.
Don't make no sense, bro.
Yeah, but it's true, man. And I think we have all the answers to our problems sitting on that bench. They just sent Miles McBride went down to the G League, and his first game in the G League, he scored 29 points and that had 9 assists, man. You can't tell me that he couldn't at least give you half of that if he got some burn in the Knicks rotation right now, man. I just think that we have too much talent. Too many young players to not be playing at a high level right now. It's no reason why we should be just above 500. We lost about 5 or 6 games that we should have won. You know what I mean?
And I mean, even without that, let's just take McBride and Grimes, who was and Jericho Sims, who was my favorite preseason player. But I think me, you, and Hart will. I think I can speak for us when I say those were our three favorite new Knicks additions, right? But just look
Absolutely.
at the players the proven players that have been NBA players. You got Obi Toppin with 7.8 points.
Absolutely.
You got Taj Gibson. All right, forget about his scoring, but his minutes per game, he's only in there for 14 minutes a game.
Yes.
Then you got Emmanuel Quickly with 8.6 points a game. He's in at 17 minutes a game.
Yes.
And then you go up to the top, and there's a huge gap from Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier between 22 and 24 minutes a game, and then RJ and Julius Randle at 32 and 35 minutes a game. So
Yeah.
why is there such a big gap in the eighth player on the bench and the first player on the bench, and the first player in the starting lineup from a minutes perspective, and then from a points perspective, it just doesn't make sense still. I don't understand what the coaches are saying to them. I don't understand what's happening in the film session. What are they not seeing that we are?
I don't know. I really don't know, but it's quite obvious. I think that they just turning a blind eye to it. And to me, and I hate sounding like I'm bombing on Julius Randle, but the fact remains is that he's screwing up the offensive flow. Not only is he holding the ball, right? But he's also on the top of the key with the two wing players. And then people are wondering why RJ Barrett is never in the flow of the offense. Is because Julius Randle is up top with the other two guards and RJ who's in the corner somewhere, just sitting there. And when exactly, so there's no ball movement. When Julius Randle gets the ball, he's dribbling into double and triple teams, and he's going right into the heart of the defense. And then when he tries to jump and make a pass, or he tries to spin to the basket, he either throws a bad pass or he loses the ball off his foot, or they steal it from him. And that just kills the whole flow of the offense. That first game against the Boston Celtics, that's the Knicks team that I thought that we would have this entire season, where players were moving around. Fournier was moving around. He was hitting big shots. He wasn't really doing too much outside of the scope of what he can do. But it just seemed like after the fifth and sixth game, guys started worrying about their numbers and their stats, man. And that's when things started going south.
And you know what else is that I started paying attention to is that, like, I started noticing things that you and Will talked about in the preseason, even in the summer league during the summertime, was Julius' inability to evolve his game, right?
Yes.
And his inability to evolve his game. And we're talking about the NBA here, right? We're talking about the NBA here. Stephen A. Smith yells it from the rooftop every time we talk about the Knicks. They're going left. He's going left. So not only is he a bad decision maker, right? Yeah. Not only is his game not evolving whatsoever, but he's also predictable.
Yeah, very, very predictable.
He's also predictable. So he's making bad decisions, and he's being encouraged to make bad decisions. Yeah. Right? His game isn't evolving, so he's not adding on things to his game that the defense isn't yet prepared and ready for, because what he's putting on film is what he's putting on the court every single night, which is him being stagnant in his playmaking ability and being predictable. It's like they don't have to really play defense. They just got to wait for him to make a mistake.
And then they going the other way, man. His plus minus numbers over the past like 6 or 7 games was like a negative 64 or something like that. Something crazy, man. So it's like the team isn't playing well with him on the floor. Like, yes, he got his numbers yesterday, but again, they're not amounting to any wins, man. So just based off the small sample size, and I know people will still say, oh, it's early, and the team got to get their chemistry, and you got to let guys figure their roles out and everything. But I beg to differ, man. I see a totally different team. Huh?
It's Thanksgiving, bro.
Yeah, facts. So do you think that, like in the beginning of the season, I remember myself saying 50 wins easy. top 4 seed in the East. Now, looking at this sample size that we have so far, do you think that this team is at least a top 6 team in the East? Or are they gonna have to
No,
play in?
no, not right now, not right now. And again, just looking at the just looking at what they have put. Let's just talk about facts. Like I was taught at a young age, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Let's go.
And the only teams that they besides Houston, I can't count Houston. I can't, and that was only a 6-point win. They've beat Indiana and
Uh,
they beat Milwaukee. Yeah, they
wow.
beat Indiana, Milwaukee, and that's it. And
Wow.
it's about the month of November. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
it just it lost again, lost to Cleveland, lost to Milwaukee, lost to Charlotte, and then still, it's not even just that still, but look at their next 6 games: the Lakers, the Suns, the Hawks, the
Yeah.
Nets, the Bulls, the
God.
Nuggets, the Spurs, the
Oh,
Pacers. It's not
God.
about to get easier, bro. So that's why when people say, "Oh, it's still early in the season," like, nah. First of all, it's Thanksgiving, so
Uh,
like it's almost Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
Christmas is almost here, but it's not getting any easier. Just their next 6 games alone still
It's tough.
Lakers, Suns, Hawks, Nets, Bulls, Nuggets. I don't see with the way they're playing. I don't see two. I see 2 wins. Maybe
Oh,
they beat the Hawks. Maybe they beat maybe they beat the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? I see
oh,
2 wins.
God. And shout out to my brother Frank Dreddy. He said, man, they're about to go on a run and turn it up. Watch.
I hope he's
I
right.
hope so, bro.
He's
Bring
right.
some luck to the garden for us, man. You know what I'm saying? I might give you a bars and hoops hat to wear for good luck. You know what I mean? But let's see. Let's play a little game, man. Like if we could shake this team up a little bit right now, but with the pieces that we have to kind of make things run a little bit smoother on offense, man. So here's some things that I kind of jotted down, man. You could agree with me or disagree if you feel, right? Run the offense through Kemba Walker or RJ Barrett. 2, move Fournier to the bench. 3, start Alec Burks at the 2. And 4, keep Julius Randle below the foul line on offense at all times. He shot 9 3-pointers the other day. That's a problem. And he's a pat.
I think I agree with all that.
Huh?
I think I agree with all that.
Yeah, and he shot 9 3-pointers, bro. He's our power forward.
They against Houston, they started Kemba Walker, Evan
Mhm.
Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. I think Alec Burke, I mean, you got to do what we got to do, with the play. Like you said, the pieces we have right now.
Yeah.
I think Fournier would be a good piece off the bench. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think Randle should be banned. I think he should be banned, bro. He should be banned. They need to send my boy. What was the dude that went after LeBron last night? Isaiah Lewis.
Oh my God,
They need to
man.
send him after Julius Randle anytime he walks past the free throw line, bro. They need to have him chase Julius Randle the way he was chasing LeBron around, like Isaiah
Yeah.
Stewart. There you go. Somebody just said it for me.
That's
They
a
need to
fact.
have him chasing Julius Randle the way he was chasing LeBron around last night, because I don't, bro. 9 3-pointers.
9 3-pointers is ridiculous from your power forward.
That can't shoot.
Yeah. Now, the reason why I say add Burks to the lineup is because now to put a little bit more balance in our starting lineup as well as our bench, because Alec Burke is more of an attacker than Evan Fournier is at the 2. So a guy like Fournier can benefit off of playing it off the bench with somebody like a D Rose who penetrates and gets the ball to the open man. It'll make Fournier's life a lot more easier as a shooter because we all know that he can shoot, and that's the reason why he was brought here, for his offensive prowess and that he can knock down the jump shot. Moving Randle, of course, below the foul line would force him to use his body that he worked on. To use his body. This guy, he came back looking chiseled like a boxer. But it's like every time I see him, it's like he's trying to be like KD or Westbrook or somebody, like at the top of the key, dribbling the ball between the legs, trying to take dudes off the dribble, and his handle isn't even that tight. So I just think that those minor changes can probably change how the offense flows, especially in the first unit. But I know you got something to say with that.
I mean, I can't say, like I said, I think I agree with all the points you made, that it's those are good ideas. They're good ideas. And
Yeah.
if we see them sitting in Long Island and Queens, shout out to South Side, shout out to South Side. If
South side, we outside.
is if we can see that from Hempstead and Queens,
Yeah.
how is it that this coaching staff that's consumed with basketball does not see that? And I just want to bring up one point
Let's
to
go.
what you brought up Evan Fournier, right?
Yeah.
And making him a bench player now. I'm wondering if what's starting to happen is that Julius Randle is being encouraged so much and given so much power in decision making that it's now causing a negative effect to what should be positive contributors in their current roles. Fournier should is Randall playing so bad that we're now trying to move other pieces around that should be contributing more
Yeah.
as is
Mhm.
because of the coaching that's taking place and the empowerment that they're giving him to keep making these bad decisions. Like, is Fournier really playing that bad, or is the coaching and direction of the team that bad?
Nah, you hit the nail on the head because Fournier was the first one to come out and say that he thinks that guys are playing a little bit too selfish. The ball is sticking. There's no cohesiveness on the offense. There's not enough movement. He came out and said that last week.
And he's coming off a summer of balling in the Olympics.
And for France.
He balled for France, bro. He
Yeah.
had in it. He had them
Yeah.
in it, and he was their star player.
Yeah, and I can't front. I at first I was skeptical about the signing of him, but after seeing what he did after that first game, he added a different dimension to the team that we haven't had in a long time with Reggie Bullock and all these other guys. So yes, he can create as well for other people,
Yeah,
man.
and then
So
it's like, is RJ playing that bad? Or like you said, with Randall being at the top of the key with the other two guards, where there's only so much court to go around, where's all he can do is stand in the corner and hope somebody throws him the ball every once in a while. So is he really playing that bad? Or are the coaches doing that poor of a job of putting him in position to contribute and be successful for the team?
Bingo. That's exactly what it is, man. Because if you look at RJ's game, it was a point in time when he was on that hot streak. He was looking like he did in Duke. In Duke, what did he do? He ate in transition. Every time there's a fast break, he was leading it. And the good thing about RJ is that he finishes with either hand, right or left. You know what I mean? Like, he's not getting those opportunities. And then when Julius Randle jacks up long three-pointers or long contested jump shots, they lead to long rebounds going the other way. That'll deflate.
And let's not forget still too. And this goes back to our same point, not to keep driving it home, but RJ was on the team with the number 1 pick in the draft.
Absolutely.
You know how hard it is? You know how hard it is to be the 3rd pick in the what? He was the 3rd pick or the 3rd pick in the draft.
It was a 3rd pick.
To be the 3rd pick in the draft, coming off the same team as the 1st pick. You know how hard that is to still ball like that in college when the number 1 pick is your teammate?
I'm telling you.
You know what I'm saying, bro? And that goes back to coaching and people putting them. But he was on a team with what people thought was the next LeBron James, and he still was the number 3 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
But why? Yeah. Why? Because of coaching, because of leadership on the team, using his skill set in the right spots, in the right places, and in the right strategies, in the right game plan. They're not doing that right now. He's not getting that right now, bro.
Nah, at all. And you know, the reason why he's not getting it is because it's not a healthy balance on offense with this team. And like I said, when you look at how the Knicks offense plays out, it's like 3 or 4 guys just at the top of the key alone. And then RJ is tucked somewhere in the corner on the wing by 3. And then they run this one play. It's like they just handing off, like it's like playing
the big man handoff.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like they doing 3-man weaves up top and really getting nowhere. It's like the offense is going side to side. You know, lateral movements, nothing going straight forward. You know what I mean? So I think that this team needs to, and I hate to say it, they have to make a serious move to like get us a player that can complement the style of play that Tibbs wants. They need a low post threat right now. Now, we spoke about this last week, Remy. The two people whose names kept coming up was Carl Anthony Towns and Damon Lillard. Now, you know, I've been saying this since the summertime that we need to go after one, if not both of those guys. And I think adding somebody like Carl Anthony Towns, numbers wise, it'll probably be the same thing that Julius Randle is doing. But what you get with him is a guy that can legitimately make guys have to double down in the post on him when he can find an open man up top. What you think?
But see, I think that that would be I think it's a good point. I think
Uh-huh.
you're making good basketball points.
Uh-huh.
I think my response would be different
Uh-huh.
if that player already didn't. I don't like to use the word fail. I like to stay in a positive aspect, but if
Uh-huh.
that player already didn't have, he already was unsuccessful with the current coach we have.
Tips.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
like, all right, we're gonna bring a similar player numbers wise to the
Uh-huh.
team, right? You know, different in terms of size and style of play.
Uh-huh.
But he's a similar player as far as contribution goes, numbers wise. And we're
Uh-huh.
gonna take that player who already had a failure with our current head coach, which
Uh-huh.
we all agree is our main, we think is our main problem right now. That his
Uh-huh.
inability to get more creative and think outside the box and see the obvious and do something about the obvious. What's really going to be the big difference if the coach that already failed with that same player is sitting at the helm of our organization?
All right, I got two things for you, right? Okay. That's valid. What you said is absolutely valid, right? But here's the major difference. The supporting cast of players, that's one, and Kenny Payne, two. Where did Carl Anthony Towns go to college?
Yeah, Kenny. Yeah.
Kentucky, right? Who's been linked to the Knicks for the past 5, 6 years before they even got Tibbs? Calipari, right?
Calipari.
So I believe that that's the biggest difference. But it's Kenny Payne being here to kind of be that bridge between Carl Anthony Towns and Tibbs this time around. The fact that Towns is a tri-state area kid, grew up a Knicks fan, coming here, I think this will rejuvenate his drive and his career because he's doing well in Minnesota, but he's not happy in Minnesota either. You know what I mean? I think that it's a change of scenery would do him well. But to just answer your point, though, the biggest thing is Kenny Payne and the supporting cast that we have here. The only person they played with on this team, and that was for a very short period of time, was Derrick Rose. Oh, snap.
Taj
Huh?
Gibson. Taj Gibson too,
And
right?
Taj Gibson, yes. Taj Gibson for a short period of time. So I
I mean,
think that
those are good. Those are good points.
uh,
Those are good points. I
uh,
just
I
I
get what you're
don't
saying.
know. I don't see he's so similar in terms of numbers and point distributions, and it already didn't work once with the. I can see if we kind of agreed that Tibbs might be like our third or fourth biggest problem, but
Uh-huh.
we're agreeing that Tibbs and the Randall mix and the way coach and player is probably our biggest problems. It's probably our biggest problem. And now we're gonna we're gonna go after a player that already didn't work with Tibbs before.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like either the Shane and I hate doing this, bro. I swear to you,
Uh-huh.
Steelers, I hate doing this.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Hate doing this. I do not want to be talking about the coach of the year right now in this regard. I don't want to
Oh,
be
no.
doing it. But
Oh, no.
I think that it's so blatantly and glaringly obvious that the only real mix up besides them figuring something different with the same pieces right now,
Yeah.
besides just bumping his head in White Plains outside the
Yeah.
practice facility and realize what he's doing ain't working,
Yeah.
right? And having Leon Rose sitting him down and having a real heart to heart talk with him. Because I think
Yeah.
I think that was gonna be a point I was gonna bring up, but
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna save that for a minute. That or them going after getting a Dame. Like I think
There we go.
I,
There we go.
I think that's the only thing. Either you make a change at coach or you make a ridiculous splash and you go get a
Yes,
Dame. That's
that was my next point.
those are the three options. Figure out to make it work,
Uh huh.
get rid of Tibbs, or make the biggest splash you can make and go get Dame.
It has to be Dame. Like, and that's the thing. If you get Towns, you have to bring Dame in as well. It's a 2 point uh process. You have to bring in both of them for this to actually work. Because when you look at Tibbs, the most success he had was when he had a young, healthy D Rose. That was pretty much the coach and the energy on the floor for him that led on both ends of the floor, defense and offense. And Dame Lillard can kind of bring that same type of energy to the team from the point guard position. Because right now, Kimba is a shell of himself. It's sad because those are guys that we'll have to package in any deal to get any of these stars that we're talking about. Some of those guys got to go, but they have to also have some sort of value to in order for us to make these moves happen. Now I got a dark horse now,
Uh-oh.
and I think that we can probably get him for the low. I mean, it won't be the low, but all we have to do is match up money, and I think that they'll give him up with no problem because right now it doesn't look like it's working where he is. Now, don't kill me, but I'm talking about Russell Westbrook. For Mitchell Robinson, one of the biggest problems that LA has is defense. They're not defending the rim at all. And adding a guy like Westbrook to LeBron, they like canceling each other out because they both need to have the ball in their hands to be effective. What you think?
So I think wow, you just said a lot, bro. You just said a lot.
Not think about it.
Where do I start? Let me start with this. Let me start with
Uh-huh.
what I wanted to mention before. So I think of those three possibilities,
Uh-huh.
I think the most realistic one is
Uh-huh.
us having such a strong personality, basketball mind, and such a
Uh-huh.
big reputation as Leon Rose in the building. I think
Yes.
that's what's different than Tibbs' other stops.
100%.
Leon Rose will be that dude that will sit and World Wide West. Don't forget World Wide
Yes.
West
Shout
is
out
coming.
to World
When
Wide
you sit his
West.
ass down, like,
Yes.
listen, bro, like this ain't working. You know what I mean? This ain't
That's a
cutting
fact.
it. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
They
fact.
going they can be they have that basketball reputation where they gonna sit his ass down and he gonna have no choice but to listen.
That's a
He
fact.
gonna have no choice. At the end of the day, Leon Rose is running the next period right now. He's
100%.
running next. The owner is out of the equation. We're not hearing nothing about the owner right now.
Not, and that's a good thing. That's what he wanted.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Mhm.
I think that's the most realistic of all the options. Do I like that one? No, because I feel like you're still trying to teach your old dog new tricks with
Gotcha.
such a difference in team. I think that I would like the splash to happen at this point. I would like to see them go get Dame. I would love to see Dame in the Garden, bro. Well, I would
Yes.
love that the Dame times.
Dame time.
Dame times. I would love to see that, bro.
Yeah.
The Westbrook thing, you know how big of a LeBron James fan. We're a Knicks show. I'm a Knicks fan first, but
Yes.
you know how big of a LeBron James fan I am, bro.
Uh-huh.
I think that there's no basketball player on this planet that LeBron can't figure out how to make it work with and how to get the
Uh-huh.
most out of. Most out of.
Okay.
I think LeBron hasn't played enough with him yet for us to get a true insight on how well they could play together. I think it's a bad match. I think
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
bad
bad
match.
match.
But we have not seen the highest potential of the bad. So of all the bad players they can match up with him, they pick one of the worst. But we
Uh-huh.
haven't seen how much LeBron. Don't forget, LeBron made all stars out of Mo Williams and Boobie Gibson. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
I remember that. You know what I'm saying? He
Yes.
made all stars out of them. He took nobody. Matthew Dellavedova was the second best player when they went up against the best basketball team in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was second best player. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
he's done a lot with bad players. And Westbrook, I think, is a bad match, but we haven't seen what their potential is yet. So I don't think the Lakers are going to give up on him that quickly.
Hmm.
But I think so. I don't think we'll have time to get Westbrook before. I don't think the Lakers are gonna make a move with Westbrook this year. I think they're gonna
Right.
get through the All Star break with him. I think they're
Yeah,
gonna see how the year finishes. But I think of all the players you can go out there and get, you go get a Dame, bro. You go get a
yeah,
Dame. You know I was against that in the summertime.
no
I was
question,
against it, but go
no
get a Dame.
question.
Either Leon Rose and World West sit Thibodeau in the room and say either you're gonna do it all way or you're gonna walk out with your boxes in your hand,
Yeah,
or they go get a Dame.
yeah, hell yeah. See now, here's the thing. So we can't make a move for any of those guys because we can't move any of the guys that we received this summer until the trade deadline. Like I think it's till like December something is when
Yeah,
they're
December
available.
like December 15th or 16th,
Yeah,
something like that.
that's when they're eligible to be moved and traded. So right now, the only way we can move those guys is by the trade deadline. And by that time, it may be too late in the season, and we might have to just wait to free agency or the summertime to kind of work something out. Because if you can't get them during the trade deadline, don't make any sense to break any eggs to get them now. But I do think that I really do think that the Lakers will eventually get rid of Russell Westbrook, and I do think that Westbrook would fit with Tibbs. Why? Because he's just like Derrick Rose. He actually came back better off of his injury than Derrick Rose did. Ruptured because what was it? Westbrook he ruptured his ACL, right? So his ACL,
No, he never tore his ACL.
yeah, it's his ACL, but
Mm-mm.
he had a lower leg injury that sidelined him for a little bit, and he came back strong. And if you look at their games, they have similar games. He's always on attack mode, and that's the type of guard that we need. That's going to attack the defense, break the defense down, find a shooter that we have on the wing or in the corner with an open shot. I think that he would really help this Knicks team because he doesn't go uh, east to west. He goes north and south. There's no sideways with him. He's attacking the basket.
He's attacking everything.
You know what I mean? And he grabs rebounds and he plays defense as well. So I think it'll be a great fit here in New York. And as far as the money, I think that they would only have to pay him the rest of his salary this year. And I think the brunt of his salary is next year. I think he get like 42, 43 million
And he's a
next
goon. Yo, you see him last night when someone was going after LeBron.
year.
He was shit talk, bro. He told his playground boys last night, bro. He was like, he was the only one. He was the only. If you watch the end of that clip when Isaiah Stewart made his second run at him, you see
Yeah.
like he had the lopsided shit, like he had the little man playground hands, like the lopsided hands, where the one hand is really high and the other hand is really low. Like, bro, those hands don't even make sense. I ain't seen them hands win a fight yet, but he's ready to go. You know what I'm saying? He's ready to be a goon. I ain't seen nobody win a fight with their hands like this yet, bro. But you always knew that one little person on the playground, on the block, in the hood, in the back of the building somewhere with his legs like that. You know what I'm saying? He had his up like this, bro, ready to go last night. So I love the goon in him. I love the goon in him.
Oh
I
man.
love
Well,
that monster, that animal in him, but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't see the Lakers giving. I don't see the Lakers calling it quits with him yet. Not until they've seen him play with LeBron enough. At the end of the day, I think LeBron's the decision maker there. Period. And he hasn't played with him enough yet. And I just don't. I don't know how realistic that would be, but I think the most two realistic things is them locking him in a room and saying you can't leave until you make this change in coaching, or you go make a splash, bro. But I wouldn't mind seeing caught like that real quick.
Well, the good thing is that tomorrow we're gonna see him firsthand because the Knicks' next opponent, I believe, is the Lakers.
Yeah, and the next 6 games, bro. Out of the next 6, 3 are primetime games, 2 TNT,
Yes.
1 ESPN.
And we've got a lot of primetime games this year, man, which is a beautiful thing. But they just folding under pressure. And it makes me look back at something that somebody said to me, man. Like maybe playing in front of a crowd is a big difference. I think Hardwell said that. Playing in front of no fans is different than playing in front of a packed house. And I think that's kind of what's getting to them this year. But I don't really believe in that. They played on this level 90% of their career from kids on up to the pros. So they always been used to playing in front of big crowds or playing in big games in front of scouts and things like that. So I don't think that that's it. I just think that, like you said,
That's an
it's
interesting
Tibbs.
point, though. Stills, I
Yeah,
never thought
yeah.
about that.
Nah, it's true because remember they had the bubble year. Nobody was really in the stands. You ain't gonna have to worry about nobody booing you or anything like that. You just is out there playing ball like you in practice. It was a saying that some guys would get busy in practice, but in game time, they shell up,
And
fold
they
up.
talking about the Garden, bro, the bright
Yeah,
lights, Broadway, like talking about New York City.
yeah,
You know, the
hell yeah.
Garden, bro, them lights hit different, bro.
Yeah, they
Even
definitely
on a random Tuesday at 7 o'clock on a locally televised game, them lights is different, bro.
absolutely.
That's a
So
good point. I never thought about that. That's interesting.
yeah, yeah, nah, it's starting to look like that's what the case is. But nonetheless, man, our next game is against the Lakers. It is a primetime game, and the NBA suspended LeBron for one game, so he will not be playing tomorrow against the Knicks. So this is a winnable game. Now, well, on our end, Taj Gibson is out. Derrick Rose is questionable for his ankle, and Mitchell Robinson may possibly also be out because of concussion protocol. I didn't even realize he had a concussion. You know what I mean? So
I didn't know he had a concussion, and the
yeah,
Giants another interception.
Giants. Oh God, man, I'm gonna get to them after this, man.
Just
You
threw
know what I
another
mean?
pick,
I
bro.
didn't even look at it. I didn't even look at the game yet. I was here cleaning out my fish tank for my son, man. Added some new fish. But anyhow, Mitchell
Yeah, I didn't even
Robinson.
had a concussion. I had no idea.
Yeah, he's out with concussion protocols. Now, you know the elephant in the room tomorrow is gonna be: are you rooting for Carmelo Anthony to do well on his return back home?
Oh, I didn't think about that, dude.
Shame on you, Knicks fans. Because listen, go ahead. I'm gonna let you
Think
go
about
first.
that, bro.
Carmelo Anthony's coming back to the Garden
Let me show you
as a
something.
Laker for the first time in a long time.
Let me show you what's sitting right next to me. Right next to me.
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony. Right next to me, bro. Right
Yeah.
next to me. I'm about to
I'm
pull this one
telling
up.
you.
Let's
So,
pull
so are you rooting for Melo to do well tomorrow and lose?
I'm about to answer your question right now. Answer your question right now, Stairs. Rocking this tomorrow night, bro. Let's go. Let's go. Let Melo.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what, bro?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I just made my mind. Yes, I want Melo to come and drop 40 tomorrow night in the Garden.
40 in a
I
winning
want
effort or
Melo to
lose.
come. I want Melo to come to the Garden, drop 40, and the Lakers to win. Period. Period.
Wow.
They need
Wow, Remy.
they need something like that to happen. They need a wake up call. And if
Wow.
you barely you're one of your only 3 wins in November is beating Houston by 5. That's one
Uh,
of your only 3 wins in the whole month, bro.
yeah.
Something they need some kind of wake up, some kind of shake up, some kind of something. And Melo coming and dropping 40 on the Knicks. 6'9" from Syracuse, Carmelo
So,
Anthony.
so it's gonna be very interesting tomorrow
I forgot
because
all about that, bro. That's so crazy.
you gotta remember Julius Randle. He practiced a lot in the offseason with Melo. You know what I mean? He's trying to patent Melo's game. Um, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder tomorrow to kind of erase the fans' memory of Carmelo Anthony because once he hears the reception that Melo gets, I think that he's gonna try to his hardest to bust Melo ass to kind of turn those chairs to his direction instead of people focusing on Carmelo. So it's gonna be an interesting battle tomorrow at the small forward, power forward position.
Yeah,
You know
you
what I
have a
mean?
good point, bro. He might be really trying to dribble
Oh
tomorrow
God.
night. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Because the end of what New York, you got your Melo haters, but for the most part, bro, New York love Melo. New York
yeah,
love Melo, bro.
and Melo loves New York. You know
Yeah,
what
so
I mean?
he might be prone for a shoulder, and he's playing great. He's playing great.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's playing really well. He's hitting the three at a high clip. in LA. But the Lakers just haven't been winning. I think that a lot of their problems stems from the coach as well. I don't think Frank Vogel is a great coach. I think that he's just a figurehead there. And LeBron is really the coach, man, and it shows. This is the second year in a row where LeBron got injured and the team went on a losing streak. And then he comes back and tries to get the team back on track. But tomorrow's game is going to be very interesting because of the Melo aspect. So now, since we're on the subject of Melo, where would you rank Melo in all-time Knick history?
Don't do this to me, Stills.
Players, all-time players in New York Knicks history, where would you rank Carmelo? This is an easy one for me. This is a layup. This is a layup for me, but I'm going to let you go. In terms of players.
If we're talking about just all-time individuals, not favorites, right? Just all-time individual Knicks, not favorites, right?
Yes.
I grew up as a kid watching Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason bang. You know what I'm saying? Watching the bully ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So those will, I think that little Knicks team right there, those will always be like one of my favorites just because growing up, seeing that bully ball. But individual players, Melo, no question, is the best Knick I think of all time.
Wow, of all time?
Who's
Damn.
Think about it.
Man, I'm surprised you said that, Remy.
Think about it. Who
time?
Of all time. Who
Remy,
else of all time?
All time?
When you put the ball in their hand, and think and second guess whether or not anytime Melo touched the ball, you thought it was going in. Anytime Melo touched the ball, there was no shot he couldn't make. There was no play he couldn't make. There was no matchup he couldn't win on any given night.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you my list, and this is in numerical order, right? So we're going to start, and shout out to the Facebook user that said number 2, right? They got Melo as number 2. That's pretty high, right? So me, I can't disrespect the elders and the Knick gods that bought the team a championship. The only 2 championships that we have. So my number 1 is Willis Reed, the captain. That's my number 1. Number 2 is Walt Clyde Frazier. He's also very instrumental in the championships that we had. He had a big championship game to bring the Knicks home a championship against the Lakers. Number 3 is his backcourt mate, Earl of Pearl Monroe. Now, it gets a little dicey because we haven't had championships since 73.
Wait, we had 3 and you ain't say Melo yet?
No, that's 3. Okay. So now we're going to go to the ring list. Number 4, Patrick Ewing, arguably our best draft pick that we've ever had. Remember, 85 was the first time we had a high draft. I think that was like one of the first draft lotteries. We had Patrick Ewing. So that's number 4. Number 5, and this is somebody that a lot of Knicks fans forget about, Bernard King. He was who Carmelo Anthony's patented his game behind.
He wanted to be Bernard King. That was on the scoreboard his first night as a Knick.
Exactly. And then number 6 is Melo, because I can't put Melo before the person that he patented his game behind. Because Bernard King was just as dominant, if not more dominant, than Carmelo before the injuries to both of his knees. Bernard King was a scoring machine, bro. Even when he went to Washington, after the Knicks got rid of him, he went to Washington, he still used to come back and give us buckets and numbers. So Melo is number 6 all time on my list. As far as scoring, Melo is number 7 on the Knicks all-time scoring list as well. So, and he only played in New York for what?
7 years, 6 years?
7 years, yeah, 7 years. Played with New York for 7 years, and he made their all-time scoring list, and he finished at number 7. I believe it's number 6. So that's why I would rank Melo all time. Now, as far as favorites, yes, Melo is my number 2 favorite overall, because Patrick Ewing was my guy. But Melo is number 2 in my book. Fan favorite, he's probably number 1 because he came to the Knicks at a time when no other superstar wanted to come here in their prime. And I think that he'll always get love and respect just off of that aspect alone. He came here when nobody else wanted to come here. And that's why I'm going to always salute him because he could have went anywhere he wanted to. He could have
Anyway,
forced himself to Miami with Wade and LeBron. He chose to come here with Stat because he wanted to bring a championship to this city. And he wasn't with the whole, I'm going to just jump on a championship team with other players and get a cheap ring. You know what I mean? He's doing it now because he's at the end of his career and he got nothing to prove. And he gave all these guys buckets anyway. So now he's like, all right, I proved my point to y'all. Now it's time to get a piece of hardware before I go. So for me,
maybe I'm biased, bro. Maybe because I love Melo so much. Maybe I'm biased, but call me. I mean, I can't argue with you with with bringing up Willis Reed and Clyde Frazier, but and then Bernard King. I'll never forget on the scoreboard that night. It said the New York there's basketballs on the basketball hoops on every playground. All I heard was New York this and New York that. They called me Little New York. I wanted to be Bernard King. So I still remember that being on the scoreboard that night. His first night, that night against Milwaukee.
Absolutely.
And those are good points. But I'm still going to say it. Melo is the best nigga of all time. Period.
You know what? We're going to take a poll.
Name it. Those are good points. Those are good points that you brought up. But still, you put the ball in Melo's hands any night against any team, and there is no bucket you think he's not making. There's no matchup you think he's not winning. There's no play you think he can't make on the court.
Yeah. Now with him, when he got the ball in isolation with the seconds running down on the clock, I had no fear that he wasn't going to come through.
Remember that game against Memphis? It was like 10 games in when he hit.
Yes.
He hit that baseline jumper to put him away. He was like, "This is what I do." He said, "This is what I do."
Yep, on Tony Allen. I never forget
on Tony Allen. Yep, again, right. He went right to that bench. This is what I do, bro. This is what I do.
Thanks, man.
I don't care. I'm still saying Melo, best nigga of all time, man. I hope he drop 40 tomorrow night.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. I hope he has a great game, man. Show the fans what they missing. He had an opportunity to come back, but he wanted to chase a ring, man, which I'm not mad at all. So I don't think if it works out from in LA, I think that he'd probably come back here and probably want to retire in New York because Denver don't want no parts of him, man. And he has to have a home. He has to have a home once he retires, man. So Remy,
you gotta remember that Lala has a lot to do with, a lot of influence on him too. And you gotta remember, like Melo said, even when he was not playing basketball, which is still crazy to me that Melo wasn't playing basketball. That just don't make no sense to me. But he said, like, I have a great life. Great life. His son's grandkids are set up for wealth and success. He's in not the Mount Rushmore of basketball, but he's in that elite group where he's in with the CP3 and D Wade and LeBron and rest in peace to the late great Kobe Bean. He's in that alumni of players from this generation. His wife is, oh my God, bro, I would do unthinkable things for 5 seconds alone in her bathtub after she leaves. Before the maid comes in to clean the bathtub, just let me come in the bathtub. Let me just smell Lala's dirt for 5 minutes, bro.
Hey, man. Yeah.
But like you think about, you know what I'm saying? He got a great young man as a little son. Besides the little stripper, baby thing. Really, he hasn't gotten into any trouble. He's like he has a great life, and I think that would be a great storyline to see him. He started in Denver, but he's always going to be known as a Knick, and
that's a fact.
I think that would be a great storyline to see him come back and retire as a Knick. But for now, I'll see him drop 40 on Julius Randle, have him looking silly in the Garden because they need to wake up and shake up, bro. And I'm standing by that.
That's a fact, man. Word. Shout out to Jay Remy, man. Shout out to everybody that tuned in on Facebook today. Shout out to everybody that tuned in on Bars and Hoops Radio. Shout out to everybody that tuned in live on YouTube as well. Don't forget, every Monday, 10 to 11, Knicks Talk Radio, Knicks Talk Nation Radio, featuring myself, Jay Remy, and the crew that shows up on that particular day. But until next week, man, Jay Remy, Steals the Great, Knicks Talk Nation, Bars and Hoops Radio. We are signing off. Peace. New York City. We back. The Big Apple. NY. The Knicks are back. Staten Mellow. This dedicated to my city, New York. Official kings in the court. Reach with a ball, a hard lesson gets taught. So bring your skills to the nearest playground. No clown around. Catch a helmet in a minute on a New York playground. The Big Apple's what they call it for short. And basketball is our sport. We play for keeps and never settle for sure. So bring your game when you come to my town. We snatch a crowd. You get embarrassed on the court after you shook to the ground. You get respected when you prove you get down. So say the joke for the clowns. And NYC, we known to go a few rounds. This is the city where you're forced to go hard. You'll get booed out of Dodge and shown the door being the weakest on squads. Rucker Park and summer nights, they stay live. Brothers play for the pride and bragging rights on who's the king of NY. So grab the pill and prepare to go hard. Pick your 12-man squad. Orange and blue better believe we go hard. This for my city, New York, New York City where it's gritty. Yeah, for my city, never pretty. New York City, sing it with me. Yeah, for my city, New York City where it's gritty. NYC, for my city, never pretty. Yeah, New York City, sing it with me.